Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. It is Sunday, August the 7th, 2022. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach, and I am here to talk to you about a really outstanding MLB DFS slate. There are 15 games today. We're going to touch on all of them, and we're going to focus on that main slate that starts at 1:35, but we are going to go over every detail here, get you ready for the weather, DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, the whole 9 yards. So appreciate you joining in. This is our first Sunday going live. We've been doing live shows at 11 Eastern a.m. Every day, getting a ton of momentum, a lot of people jumping in. So that is awesome. Really appreciate everybody joining and checking it out. Let us know what you think about it as well. Join in chat. We'll definitely go through some comments as they take place throughout the podcast today. We're also giving away $20 PayPal. First time we've done that live on a podcast. That'll come up here in just a little bit. And again, we're going to go over everything we've got here, Coach Talk wise, on this solo Sunday. Couple of things real quick. If you're a member, what you can expect for today, we cover everything more Coach Talk, I think, than any provider in the industry. Obviously, you've got this live podcast. Then we provide at noon our members to our members for our ownership projections for the MLB. Then we have the main slate that posts. It's 8 games that are covered on DK, 9 on FanDuel, and 13 on Yahoo for the main slate that locks at 1:35. We'll be posting that at 1:10. Then we have NASCAR today. Our guys, Mike and Colin, will jump all over that. That locks at 3 o'clock. And then we're going to do an afternoon late slate at 4:07 is the lock. We'll be posting at 3:40. And then listen in at 5:30. We'll have all of the NFL running backs podcast posted. We may go live at 4 o'clock with that, and Crash and Stephen Miller will be joining me, but it'll definitely be posted at the very latest 5:30 this afternoon. And we're going to go run down our top 10 running backs for the upcoming NFL fantasy season. All right, so a lot to cover today. Nice part about it is not much weather going to be an issue whatsoever. We've got just one game that I'm worried about, and that is Miami at Chicago. That Cubs game in Chicago looks like there's either going to be a delay or maybe a postponement. So in my initial builds, I'm avoiding that Miami-Chicago game. I'll pull the radar, double check on that as we get very close to lock. But that is going to be the one game that I'll keep a very close eye on. Everything else to me is a go. I don't think we have any issues. A passing shower in a few spots, but nothing that should delay the game or slow anything down. Quick good morning here to JT. What's happening? The boy from Cali, our number one. Well, I'd say he and I'd say he's number one as far as views on our podcast. So we'll put him up in that top spot. Also, Gary Rohn, what's going on, man? Good to see you this morning. And we have a bunch of other people here starting to jump in. So it should be a busy podcast here today. All right. We'll talk about each game here briefly. The only game we're not going to have provide for at Coach Talk today is this 12:05 game that starts in 1 hour from right now. It is Houston at Cleveland, but I'm going to do my go around all the teams, talk about the situation, the Vegas line, the implied totals, get a good set on what we want to do here for this slate. All right, 12:05, that game again that stands on its own. It is the Houston Astros and Cleveland Guardians. Vegas total is 8. It is in Cleveland, 86 degrees, wind blowing left to right. 4.23 implied for Houston, 3.77 for the Guardians. Again, showdown slate, Christian Javier, 15.9K, and Tristan McKenzie, 15K. So if you're playing that one on its own, you're going to want to get that in probably right towards the end of this podcast. That will be going live. So you're going to want to get that lineup. Looks like the projected lineups are in for that. Let me just double check and see if they put them. Not completely, but looks like we're going to have Pena, Diaz, Alvarez, Bregman, Mancini, McCormick, Dubon, Myers, and Maldonado against Juan, Rosario, Ramirez, Naylor, Jimenez, Gonzalez, Miller, Mayles, and Straw. So that's the projected lineups in that Astros-Guardians game. All right, here's where we get down to business. This is the main slate. This is where we're focusing the majority of our play today, and it's a really good, at least 4.5 crown slate for me. I'm thinking about 5 crowns, but right now I'm sitting at 4.5. And if you're not familiar with our rating system, we rate slates from 1 to 5 crowns as far as how heavy we want to play it and how strong we feel about it. So definitely loving this main slate today. All right, 135, Pirates at Orioles. It is 91 degrees in Baltimore, breeze blowing out to left 10 miles an hour. The Vegas total here is 9. We have a 3.91 implied for the Pirates and 5.09 for the Baltimore Orioles. Bryce Wilson, 5.7K against Spencer Watkins, 6.5K. Also at 135, we have Washington at Philadelphia, 8.5 the Vegas total, 91 warm degrees in Philly with a decent breeze blowing out to right center at 12 miles an hour. So hitter's ballpark as is, and then that breeze and temperature is definitely going to help the hitters. Even with that, a terrible implied total for the Nationals, 2.86. And big one for the Phillies at 5.64. And they're a minus 327 favorite here. And the reason that is because Aaron Nola is on the mound. He's 10K going against Corey Abbott at 6K. Next game, 140, Tampa Bay at Detroit. This is one that might get a slight shower, but I don't think it's going to cause any trouble in this game whatsoever. Again, it's a 140 start. 8.5 the Vegas total. Winds blowing in from right center at 11 miles an hour, but it's 90 degrees expected at first pitch in Detroit. We have an implied total for Tampa of 4.95, and Matt Manning is pitching for Detroit at 5.8K, with Detroit having a 3.55 implied total. Drew Rasmussen is only 7.4K pitching for Tampa, and I saved him to last because I got a circle around him today, man. Detroit against righties are pathetic. So keep that in mind for when we further this discussion. 210, Boston Red Sox, Kansas City Royals. 93 degrees in Kansas City, wind blowing out to left at 10 miles an hour. The Vegas total, a big 9.5 here. 5.11 implied for Boston and 4.39 for the Kansas City Royals. Cutter Crawford, the rookie, at 6.8K, and Brad Keller, the veteran, at 7K. Next one, 210, Cincinnati Reds and Milwaukee Brewers. Shout out to Crash Davis as he's listening, usually on here with me, but today is his day off, so I won't smash on the Brewers too much here, but it is Reds and Brewers, and it's a 210 game in the Dome in Milwaukee. 7.5 that total. 2.65 is all implied for the Reds. Tiny implied total, and over 2 runs more than that implied for the Brewers. 4.85. Graham Ashcraft, 8.9K against Corbin Burns, 10.3K. Also at 210, we have the Toronto Blue Jays and Minnesota Twins. It's being played in Minnesota, 75 comfortable degrees, slight breeze blowing in from left at 6 miles an hour. Only 8 for the total in this game. 4.48 implied for Toronto, 3.52 for the Minnesota Twins. Kevin Gausman, 9.2K versus the veteran Chris Archer at 6.2K. Then we got a game that's going to be highly watched. A lot of people are looking forward to seeing how this series wraps up. It's a 2:15 game. The New York Yankees at the St. Louis Cardinals. 92 warm degrees in St. Louis, wind blowing out to left at 7 miles an hour. The total is 8 in Vegas, 4.24 implied for the Yankees, 3.76 for the Cardinals. So competitive game here. Frankie Montas, 8.7K. I believe he's the pitcher. He was off for bereavement. I have him listed as back. If that changes, I'll let you know, and we'll also post that on Twitter. Adam Wainwright, 8.4K for the St. Louis Cardinals. Should be a great game in St. Louis today. 220, Miami Marlins at the Chicago Cubs. This is the game that we're fading for now just because it looks like a strong chance of rain and that it maintains through the entire afternoon. First pitch, a 72% chance of rain, only drops as low as 59%, really by which would be the end of the game. So not counting on much there. It's 81 degrees. It is a breeze blowing out. If the thunderstorms don't hit, we'll definitely keep you posted there. Vegas has it listed as a 9 total, 4.34 implied for the Marlins, 4.66 for the Cubs. Jesus Luzardo, the lefty, 9.1K against Adrian Sampson, 7.3K. Next one, 235. The White Sox are visiting the Rangers in the Dome in Texas as it continues to be triple digits down there in Arlington. Vegas has this game as an 8.5 total, 4.66 implied for the White Sox, 3.84 for the Texas Rangers. Lucas Giolito, they have him listed at 16.2 because they have this as a sandwich game on DraftKings. So it's by itself, but we're going to have that on our FanDuel and Yahoo slate. It gets all mixed up today. Saturdays and Sundays, they all have different slates. And for the Rangers, Spencer Howard, if you're playing the solo slate showdown on DraftKings, he's 13.8K. All right, 407 we get to now. San Francisco at Oakland. It is a comfortable 70 degrees, beautiful day in Oakland to watch a baseball game. Slight breeze blowing out to center at 8 miles an hour. The total in this game is 8, 4.75 implied for the Giants, 3.25 for the Oakland A's. The veteran Logan Webb at the righty at 8.5K against the youngster Adrian Martinez, 6.8K. We go over to Seattle for a 4:10 game. The Angels and Mariners played inside. 8 is the total in this one, 3.61 for the Angels implied, 4.39 for the Mariners. Tucker Davidson, the lefty for the Angels on the mound at 6K. And taking the hill for the Seattle Mariners, Marco Gonzalez, the lefty at 6.8K. Another game that is a very interesting one and has a slight chance of rain. I think it's going to be okay. I'm sticking with it for now, but we will update on Twitter for non-members and in Discord for our members. And that's the Braves Mets. 4:10 game, wind blowing out to left at 12 miles an hour, 88 warm degrees. There is about a 25 to 33% chance of a shower, but I think it'll be enough that they can play through. The total's only 7. You have 2 good pitchers here. 3.23 implied for Atlanta, 3.77 implied for the Mets. And this is a fun one because you have Spencer Strider, the young fireballer. He's up to 9.1K now, but we know his upside on strikeouts. And then, maybe the GOAT when he's right, Jacob deGrom, one of the GOATs, I should say, of current baseball. He's at 10.2K. It's his second start back. He pitched very effective 5 innings on the first go around. So the question will be, how much is he stretched out? Is he going to go more than 5 or 6 innings? I don't think they're going to push him too deep. But again, it's deGrom, so you don't know how much effectiveness and Ks he can have in an outing of that size. So that'll be a big determining factor on that slate. The other game at 4:10 is the Colorado Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks. It is a total of 9 played in the Dome with the Humidor in Arizona. 4 implied for Colorado, 5 implied for the D-backs. Jose Urena, 5.5K for the Rockies. And taking the hill for the D-backs is Zach Davies, 7.2K. Then the game tonight, if you're playing that one, it is a good one. It is going to be a solo game in a couple of spots. It will be part of the huge slate on Yahoo, so you'll get a chance to roster some guys if you want to play that slate there. It is the San Diego Padres at LA Dodgers. It's a 7 o'clock game. Hot 89 degrees in LA. That's very hot for there. Wind blowing out to right center at 9 miles an hour, so the ball's probably going to be hopping. I'm sure these two pitchers aren't too excited about that. But again, that 8.5 total, 4 implied for San Diego, 4.5 for the Dodgers. And the pricing on DraftKings for the showdown game, Yu Darvish at 5.9K. I'm sorry, 15.9K. If he was 5.9K on a showdown slate, I think he might be 100% owned. But how about 15.9K? And then the lefty for the Dodgers, Tyler Anderson, is a flat 15K. All right, a couple of things real quickly here. We're going to go through everything that we normally do. I'm going to give you my pay up value and fade pitchers, all our BVP, HR calls, certainly our stacks. We've got a bonus lineup, FanDuel lineup that we're going to share. So we've got all kinds of things that we still have to go over here. So hopefully we'll have a couple of more people join in. Gary's in there with us now, JT, a couple other folks joining. So couple of things I want to announce real quickly with Coach Talk that are super exciting. I'm very happy to announce these. We're adding a bunch of stuff to Coach Talk. We're going to be Coach Talk on steroids here in the next 2 weeks. Number one, we're partnering with Boom Fantasy, who will be launching shortly. And they're going to be a really great site. They're going to be competitors, I guess, prize picks in a sense. You're going to be able to play all kinds of different combinations of fantasy plays and prop plays. Just a really exciting endeavor. And we have a terrific exclusive relationship with them. We're going to be giving away some plays there. You're going to have a different opportunities when you deposit there through Coach Talk, and that'll come out in the next couple of weeks. Also, we are really stepping it up. We have talked to our members. We have a great group of 6 or 7 foundational members that we talk to through different times and get feedback to see what they want going forward. So you'll see a real new statistical analysis in our web on our website, in our Discord, specifically for members, and we'll talk about it on these podcasts. It will include ownership percentages, top stack percentages. You'll have a value tool that gives you the percentages of best plays that can have the highest result to lowest. We'll also do a member-only podcast before lock. We'll do this one. We're going to keep our regular 7-day podcast at this time live for everybody, but then we're going to add a members only towards lock. We want to get in that flow for football and NBA that's coming. So we're going to do that in baseball the rest of this season, coming up in 2 weeks when we log that. Also in football, if you haven't seen him yet, Stephen Miller's our new addition to the Coach Talk team. He played Division I football, has a lot of good connections in the NFL. And Steven and Crash will be handling all of our NFL action this year. We could not be more excited. It is going to be fantastic. Also, real quickly here, wanted to say a quick get well soon to our own Deb Lutz. So if everybody's out there and wants to send a message in Discord or shoot something to her on Twitter, Deb unfortunately took a fall and broke her leg of all things. So she's been on the IL for us this week, but sounds like she'll be back with me on Tuesday. So get well, Deb, if you're listening. We need you on Tuesday for sure. That is one of our most popular shows of the week. All right. What else? I think that's everything. I appreciate you guys giving me that time frame. Again, we'll be providing for the 135 slate and the 407 slate. We also have NASCAR in the mix. All right, now this is what we've been waiting for. Not the $20 giveaway just yet, but the important selections of the day. All right, I do not have a true pay-up pitcher today. I know that's going to be shocking news because everybody is going to have a pay-up pitcher today. I think most people will. You're going to have most teams either with Corbin Burnes, Aaron Nola, specifically one of those two, and some Kevin Gausman sprinkled in, maybe even a little Frankie Montas, but mainly Burnes, Nola, and then Gausman. I'm not playing any of those guys today. I feel like the value for them is not good enough. For example, on FanDuel, Burnes is 11-3, Nola's 10-8, Gausman's 10-5. It's just too expensive for the way they've been pitching. If you take a look at these recent outings for those guys, let's click on Burnes. Corbin Burnes, and if Crash is listening, he is going to throw his phone across the room. Corbin Burnes is my fade pitcher today. Just when you combine the fact of his price, I know he's pitching against a team that's not very good, but he has not been the Corbin Burnes that we expect. He has given up. Are you ready for this one? Would you believe in his last 4 outings, he's given up a combined 10 earned runs? I mean, that's way over what we expect for him against teams that are not good. That's my concern. Against Pittsburgh, he gave up 4 earned. Against Minnesota, who's very average, 3 earned. Against a terrible Colorado team, he only lasted 5 innings, and that was in Milwaukee, and gave up 2 earned. And then, he's had a game against Toronto where he got smacked around as well. Now, yes, he strikes some guys out. I get that. But he's facing a team that doesn't strike out a ton. They're not a good team, but they're not a big strikeout team. So if you look at, 2 of his last 3 outings on FanDuel, where you get 1 million points for pitching, it seems like, he had a 22 and a 24. At 11-3, that's going to just get it handed to you. So, as long as he doesn't have one of those 55 or 60 point games at that price, I think he's very fadeable, and I'm going to fade him. I'm going to go through the same little discussion here with Aaron Nola, because I know everybody's going to disagree with me here. But again, he hasn't been the sharp guy that we expected. 2 starts ago, he gave up 5 earned in only 6 innings to Atlanta. That's a decent team. He gave up 5 earned 4 starts ago to St. Louis, a bunch of hits too. And then, even a lousy Washington team, he gave up 3 earned runs, and Atlanta, the game before that, 4 earned. So again, yes, capable of monster games, no question about it. But 2 starts ago, 24, 4 starts ago, 27 fantasy points on FanDuel, 5 starts against 27 fantasy points against Washington on FanDuel. Just not enough for me to go up to 10-8 on FanDuel to pay for him. So again, risk, no question. I mean, if you want to play those 2 guys and fill in with cheap hitters, go for it. But if those 2 guys get you that 25 to 30 is all they get you, then you're going to be sunk, because you're not going to have the hitting. And I think there's so many great hitting spots today with good weather that's the spot to go. Then I'll touch on the third pitcher, Kevin Gausman. I like Gausman. I've always liked him. I love to play him. We faded him last time, and he stuck it to us. He did have a really good outing. He had 64 FanDuel points against Tampa Bay and struck out 10. So I understand if you want to go there, maybe he's found something and he's back in groove. But prior to that, he had 3 really bad starts in a row, in my opinion. He only lasted 4 2/3 against St. Louis, gave up 8 hits and 5 runs, all earned. He only lasted 5 innings against Boston, 7 hits, 3 earned. And lousy Kansas City, he made it through 6, but he gave up 7 hits and 2 earned and only struck out 6. So, yeah, I get it. Again, all 3 of those guys, Burnes, Nola, and Gausman, they could all get 60 today. I get it. They're facing Cincinnati, who's not a good team, Washington, who's not a good team, and Minnesota, who's just very average. I get that. So they're saying, Coach, why not play one of those guys, or maybe 2 of those 3? Well, here's the thing. These teams don't strike out a ton, Cincinnati, Washington, and Minnesota. The inconsistency of the way those three guys are pitching, and the fact that it's going to give us such a contrarian build where we can stack up monster hitting, that's what I think is going to be our differentiator today. So, if you want to play one of the lineups with those guys, go for it. And then I'll suggest a couple of other opportunities here for us to go to. So, very contrarian today. And again, you guys know me. I'm more of a cash player, but I still think the bang for my buck in cash, single entries, those kind of things is, spending up for 10-5, 10-8, or 11-3 for these guys. And I'll tell you what, they're expensive on all three sites. And if you don't get that ceiling game, if you get what they've been doing lately, which are those mid-20s games, you're going to be in trouble. All right, so enough explaining that piece. I'll give you the two pitchers that I'm looking at today, and I think there's huge upside for both of them. And that number one is Drew Rasmussen. He's facing Detroit. I mentioned it when we broke it down a bit. Detroit just can't hit righties. They're 29th in the league out of 30 teams in batting average against righties. Would you believe 215? And that's not even last, which is amazing, but it's 29th. They just can't hit righties at all. And they strike out. They're up to fourth in strikeouts in the league against righties. Drew Rasmussen's not a monster strikeout pitcher, but he's a damn good pitcher. His stats are fantastic this year. He's been consistent. They play defense behind him. And I think, with a few added strikeouts for a team that doesn't, that strikes out decently against righties, I think he's going to be fantastic play at a really cheap price. Listen to these prices: $7,400 on DraftKings, $8,400 on FanDuel, and only $43 on Yahoo. So if he gives us what I'm projecting, upper 30s to low 40s, at that price, I think he's going to be a really good steal. And it's against a Kansas City team that's pathetic. They just aren't any good. They got rid of Merrifield and Benintendi. They just don't have anything. And he's been gearing up to this start. I think he's going to just kick ass. I really do. He's going Detroit. I'm talking about Cutter Crawford's my other play, and I just explained why with him going against Kansas City. So Rasmussen against Detroit, Cutter Crawford against Kansas City. Cutter Crawford's pricing is even more impressive: $6,800 on DraftKings, $84 on FanDuel, and $40 giveaway on Yahoo. So if those two guys right next to each other, Cutter Crawford against KC, Drew Rasmussen against Detroit, you can't face too much worse teams than those two teams in pitching parks against diluted teams. And I think they can get enough strikeouts each. Cutter Crawford's going to strike out a lot of guys today, even though Kansas City's not a giant strikeout team, but they're terrible. I mean, it's just incredible. And I got to share this with you, why I like Cutter Crawford so much. This is unreal. He's pitched well. So let me give you his totals, fantasy FanDuel totals the last 8 games. You're not going to believe who this poor young man has had to face in those 8 games. No breaks either. So he's had 43, 20, 25, 31, 30, 46, 36. Nothing wrong with those numbers. Very, very competitive. Just looking at a mid-50s game here. But here are the teams that he did that against: Houston, Cleveland, Toronto, Tampa, the Yankees, Toronto, Tampa again, and St. Louis, and below that, Seattle. Not one garbage team in the group. All those teams I mentioned are playoff teams. And so the fact that he gets to go against a garbage team here that he should dominate, I think he could. I'm telling you right now, I think he'll be one of the top 3 scoring pitchers on this slate. He'll be up there. And at that price, especially pairing those two guys together, I think it's just too good to pass up. So very contrarian today. I hope that you guys are going to take some big stuff down with me. Let me check real quick here. Nola and Wainwright are my pay up and value. So not Josh Davis, that's from. He put that in chat. So we are not on the same page. I figured he'd have a heart attack when he heard I was fading his man, although he did not play him today. Hello to Damian Darby. Let's go, man. So glad that you joined us. James Brassel, let's get it. I love it. Some new names in here that we haven't seen. We hope you come with us in here every day. Travis Wyndham. What's Travis have to say? We got so many things popping in here. I can't even read them fast enough. Noah does everything. I love that one. He's in there with us. Tavarius Fleming likes Blue Jays today. I like the Blue Jays as well. What do you think about the Blue Jays Twins series, Noah? I think the Blue Jays are going to smack them around. They're really hitting the ball right now. And their lineup, when Vlad's hitting like he is right now, they're tough to beat because they just don't have any holes in there whatsoever. Josh Davis says 45 to 50 for Burns today, but doesn't make sense at the 11-3. I agree. I don't know if he even gets to that number. I have him at 42, but at 11-3, I agree with you, Crash. So I'm proud of you fading your Brewers. They're never going to give you your Brewers fan card back, though. You're really on thin ice with those Brewers fans. So what else in here? Travis live stream on the weekend. All right. It is great to see you in here. I'm sorry if I missed stuff. There's so many different things being mentioned in there. I'm missing a bunch of them. All right. Let's shift to BVP and HR call for the day. A couple of things with these selections, because we have a lot of interleague games and teams that don't play each other very often. There's not a lot of BVP to go off of. I know some people hate BVP anyway. We like it here because we think it's real, because I know it's real. I don't care what anybody says. Small sample size or not, I say you go for it. All right. My BVP play of the day is Mr. JD Martinez. He's going against Brad Keller, and he's priced very, very fairly. 3,900 on DraftKings, 3,200 on FanDuel, and I don't understand this one. 100% lock play. He's $9 on Yahoo. Broken price on Yahoo. So just plug him in everywhere. He's going to back clean up today. He's faced Keller only 9 times. So I even admit that's a low number, but there's not much BVP to compare to today. I do like the way Martinez is hitting the ball. He was expecting to be traded. They stuck with him. He's settling back down, and he's stinging the ball. He's gone 3 for 9 against Mr. Keller, and one of them's a home run. He's driven in 5, and he's walked against them. So he's got a nice 1030 OPS, 667 slugging, 364 OBP, and that 333 average. So JD Martinez, my BVP play of the day. My home run pick of the day, I mentioned it earlier, and it's Vlad Guerrero. He has not faced this young man pitching wise, but I don't care. It's Vlad, and he's a monster, and he just missed a home run yesterday. I was watching the game. He hit one of those moon shots. Everybody thought it was gone, and all of a sudden the outfielder turned around at the wall, and he caught it right at the wall. I don't know how it didn't get out of there, but he has homered the 2 games prior as well. So this last game, he went 2 for 5. So 2 hits, even with that deep fly out. And then the 2 games before that, FanDuel points, he had 28.2 and 31.7. And even before that, you could see him heating up 9, 18.2, 15.7, 21.4. I mean, Vlad is in a groove, and there's no better power hitter in baseball, bar none. Maybe Aaron Judge, I guess. That really can take the ball out of there. And he's a multi-hit guy, too. How about 6 hits in his last 3 games? He's on a, oh my God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 game hitting streak. So add that to the mix. I did not notice until now. So Vlad Guerrero, my top play today. Now, here's the bad news. He's $6,000 on DraftKings. So that is a punch in the gut, but I got the good news side. If you do go with the cheaper pitchers, the value pitchers, like Crawford and Rasmussen, or at least one of them, you're going to have some money to pay up for a ridiculous price. Now, is it bad that he's priced that high on DraftKings? I love it. And I'll tell you why. He's not going to be as highly owned as you would expect. He'll be a lot more highly owned on FanDuel and Yahoo, where he's affordable. But on DraftKings at 6K, people are going to be freaking out, and they're going to want to buy up to those high pitchers, and he's going to get lost in the shuffle. But because we're going value pitchers today, Vlad's going to be in 100% of my lineups. Now, he's very doable on the other two sites. FanDuel 4,100. Yahoo, it stings a little at 22, but if you pair him with our BVP play on the broken $9 price on JD Davis, it makes it very palatable. So those are my two plays there. Stacks, let's talk about stacks a little bit. There's a couple of them that I really like today. I agree with one of our listeners in there on the Toronto Blue Jays. I've mentioned them several times today with Vlad and company. Going against the veteran Chris Archer, he's 2-5 with a 4.05, but I don't know how much he has left in the tank. He does throw some good games at a time, but you just don't get a break in this lineup. I mean, listen to this lineup today that's expected. Gurriel, Guerrero, Kirk, Hernandez, Bichette, Chapman, who's got a bunch of homers, Whit Merrifield, by the way, welcome to the team, bats 7th now. Cavan Biggio, who's real. I don't know what happened to him, by the way. I watched him the other day. That dude has lost his game. So I'm fading Biggio until I see a huge turnaround in his game. But he's in the lineup batting 8th. And Danny Jansen, who's got a ton of pop, batting 9th. So great lineup there. I do really like Toronto. I think they're a dangerous team today. A couple other teams I think you can look at. I know a lot of people have gotten burned by the Angels lately. I sort of like that Angels-Seattle game as far as a sneaky game that can get some runs in it. Marco Gonzalez, I think, is regressing. He's 6-11 with the 395, and LA can hit some lefties. And Seattle, vice versa, with his Tucker Davidson 1-2 at the 646. This game's not going to get a lot of attention, but I like some of the right-handed sticks here. Ward, Adele, Stassi, even. You can get them cheap. And on the other side, France homered yesterday. We had him 2-3 days in a row, but he wasn't on the card yesterday. He was in that odd game out. Suarez, even Santana, the switch hitter. I mean, there's a lot of guys on both sides, I think, that can get it done. Both more GPP-ish type stacks, but I think they're really dangerous teams that you can get under the radar. And then with having some extra money today, you know, Adam Wainwright he's a really crafty veteran. But he's what he is anymore. 8-8 with a 311. That's pretty much it. He still has some game left, but he's not the dominant Cy Young type guy that he was early in his career. And that Yankees lineup is just ridiculous. It's super hot in St. Louis. I'm going to have some mini stacks, again, being able to afford them because of the cheaper pitchers that we're going to. You know, if I have a lineup that doesn't have the expensive Guerrero, I'm going to play Aaron Judge there. And then a lot of other opportunities here. LeMahieu, Rizzo, Torres, even Benintendi. Hicks hits Wainwright really well. He's the best BVP guy against Wainwright. You could throw him in there. And then again, you got a number 7 hitter, Josh Donaldson. That's how loaded they are up and down that lineup. So I'll have some Yankees stacks and be able to afford them with Toronto, and then a few GPP stacks with the Angels in Seattle for a sneaky game. That is a later slate game. All right, let's see. Anybody else in here? Any questions? I don't want to miss them. NOLA ownership shows. What do we have? Maybe we can show some ownership for those questions in there. Tom Spalding, how you doing, man? Thank you for the call there too on Crawford. I like it as well. Let's see. Jordan goes yard. Jordan always goes yard, man. That dude is amazing. Yeah, if we could post any of the ownership answers in there, Colin, that would be fantastic. All right, we have prize picks, and then my boom fantasy plays of the day, and then I'm going to share a FanDuel GPP lineup. But here is where we are going to do the $20 PayPal giveaway. And it is going to be in the hands of Mr. Colin Chachoff. So, Colin, if you're in, I hope you're still in there with us in the chat. Would you please put everybody on there? Make sure you get RJ in there. Ray, hey, Ray of Hope. Is that RJ? Hope to be back next month. Man, we miss you. Can't wait to have you back. Make sure you get him in the drawing. And Travis, boy from Cali, of course. Travis Wyndham, Tom Spalding, Tavarius Fleming. Don't put Josh Davis in there. That dude walks around and money falls out of his pocket. He doesn't need another $20. He's disqualified anyway. Poor guy doesn't even have a Milwaukee Brewers fan club card in his pocket anymore. Make sure Damian Darby's in there and JT, Gary Rohn. Get the whole group in there. We got a lot of people in the chat. A lot of people also live in here, about 55, 60 people. So, Dwayne Wesley just jumped in there too. So, Colin, when you're ready, I will continue on with the show and get through our other picks. And he'll be announcing it here in chat who the winner is of the $20 PayPal. Make sure you get your PayPal address to Colin so that we can shoot that to you so you could play it on this slate, main slate today. And we hope you take something down and you can post it in here. We'd love to be able to do that. So Colin's working on that. And while he's doing that, I'm going to go to my prize picks plays. And because I like to get the latest, we've been giving our prize picks plays, and then the lines seem to be moving a lot lately. And I hate giving out something and then it's not the right number. It's 7.5 instead of 7 or vice versa. And, it creates some confusion. So I'm going to go live to prize picks right now while we're in here. And my first play, prize picks, will give you 2 strong plays today. And then we'll have 2 or 3 more in our Discord for our members. First play is Cutter Crawford over 27.5 fantasy score. I have him up there, man. This might be the biggest discrepancy I've had all year. I have him like 40. And so I love smashing this button on over fantasy score 27.5 Cutter Crawford. I will have that all over the place. So that's the one. And then hitter fantasy score was the other one I had my eye on. I just want to make sure that we didn't get any line movement there. Let me see what we got. And remember, these prize picks plays are awesome. Prize picks is awesome. And I can't wait to add Boom Fantasy to the mix here. They are going to be tremendous. All right, my over fantasy score, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., it's 8.5, which is a very fair number. I expected it to be 8 or 9. So 8.5 over is the fantasy score prize pick selection. So those are the top 2 there. And now my Boom Fantasy plays of the day. Let's go back and give you 2 wagers if you're playing that side of it. And I am going to take the Toronto Blue Jays and Kevin Gausman. I don't like him as a dead play on DFS, but I like Toronto to win this game, and I think Gausman's good enough to win it. I just don't know if he's good enough to pay off his DFS salary, but I do like Gausman. They're only minus 165. I just think they're a much better team than Minnesota, and I don't think Archer has that much left in the tank. So Toronto minus 165 on the money line is my favorite play on Boom Fantasy. And I wouldn't mind throwing in them on the run line. I don't mind giving the 1.5 when you're on the road because you still get that 9th inning at bat. And then you can get some plus money with the Blue Jays. All right, my other play today, I mentioned it earlier. It's a sneaky one, I think. I like over in the Angels-Mariners game. That line is set at 8. And I think with Davidson and Gonzalez, the 2 lefties, and with these 2 teams being able to hit from the right side a bit, I think that minus 110 for over 8 in the Angels Seattle would be my second play. All right, let me check back in here. Let's see. Who won it is the question. Did we have it announced yet? Where are you, Mr.? I don't see any announcement for the winner. Are you in there, Mr. Chachoff, Colin? Respond and give me a winner, or I'm going to have to do the randomizer and have a winner here myself. We'll give it one more minute. Bronx Bombers 135 WRC plus versus righties. Good God. Wow. All right. I'm going to give you my FanDuel GPP full lineup, and not two brains are better than one. Just my sad sack old brain. Are you ready? I'm not going to show it on the screen. I'm going to read it off. So this can be like old school, man. You're going to have to take notes or fill it in as we go. I'll give you a little quick description so you don't have to go 80 miles an hour. I'm going with Cutter Crawford as my single pitcher on FanDuel. He's only 8,400. Love this spot, like I said, against KC. I think he gets a lot of strikeouts. I think he goes deep. And I think he's a great play at that price. Saves you a bunch of money from the pay up Burns, Nola, and Gausman. First base catcher, $4,100 Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Again, he's my home run pick today against Archer in Minnesota. I'm expecting at least one home run. Speaking of home runs, I like my second base pick today. It's against the Yankees, and it's Nolan Gorman, the big power hitter. He's only 2,800. Tons of power from this guy. He was one of the key guys that Washington wanted in a trade for Soto, and they didn't want to give him up. That's why they ended up making the move with San Diego. So I respect Gorman. I love his power. I think he has a great chance to go deep in this game. Another youngster I really like, they've been hitting him in the 3-hole, and that's Alex Bohm from Philadelphia. They're playing against a decrepit Washington team. Bohm right in the middle of that lineup. It's hot there today. He's only 2,800. And if you look at his last 10 games or so, man, has he become a fantastic player for them. And I think he's going to be in the middle of that lineup somewhere for quite a few years. Now, here's where I've got my contrarian play, but you need one cheap guy in every lineup that gets you something good. I'm going with Terrin Vavra from Baltimore. He is a really highly regarded youngster. He's a lefty. When they traded away Mancini, it was the open time at DH and in the field as well for Vavra. He's a shortstop, listed at shortstop. He's only $2,200, but he's batting third. What does that tell you? He's batting third for Baltimore, and he can play and he can hit. Really adept left-handed bat. I think he's going to be part of their future for quite some time, and we might as well grab him when we can for super cheap. He's only 2,200. In the outfield, I already mentioned JD Martinez, my BVP play of the day. He's 3,200 against that Kansas City team. Really think that he can get it done today, and you can get him cheaper on the other two sites as well. Another guy I like is Anthony Santander. He's only 3,300, batting cleanup for Baltimore today against Pittsburgh and their shaking pitching staff. Love having him, Vavra and Santander, those 3-4 hitters for Baltimore. I think he can have a really good day. And then this is exciting, man. I can fit in Aaron Judge. So I've got Vlad and Aaron Judge in my lineup together. So how sweet is that? He's 5,100 on FanDuel, which is still a lot. But you know what? It works because we're able to get the cheaper pitcher, and Vavra from Baltimore makes it work. So another, maybe home run potential with Guerrero and Judge in there. I feel pretty good about my power. He's 5,100, but we'll take it all day long. And then utility, This will make Crash happy. Andrew McCutchen batting cleanup for Milwaukee. He hit a home run yesterday, and he's the kind of guy that hits in clusters. So I think he's just a really solid play, again, against the Cincinnati lineup of pitchers and bullpen that are not that strong. So my giveaway, hopefully we all split big money for everybody that plays it. My FanDuel GPP play today is Crawford, Guerrero Jr., Gorman, Bohm, Vavra, Martinez, Santander, Judge, and McCutchen. So loving that squad today. I think that's going to bring us some money, and we're going to go from there. All right, I don't see that Chachoff must have hit the road. So I'm going to hit my randomizer, and I'm going to give away the 20 bananas right here. Before I do that, though, I need everybody that's watching. There's 63, 60, 70 of you right now. Hit the thumbs up. Ready? Everybody at once. 1, 2, 3, thumbs up. And if you haven't done it, 1, 2, 3, hit the subscribe. And then now hit that little alert button, because we go live all the time now. We're going to go live again this afternoon with our football. So hit that alert button. Then you know when your podcasts are going to go live. Don't upset Dirk back here. Just hit those buttons and let's get it done with. All right, here we go. Randomizer. I'm spinning it. It's going. The winner of the $20 PayPal today is Mr. Damian Darby. Damian Darby is our $20 PayPal winner. So what I need you to do, Mr. Darby, is go to @DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. That's where we are, @DFS Coach Talk. Send us a message and give us your PayPal address, and you will get that $20 here in the next couple of minutes. And you can plop that in there and win some bucks. That's what we're hoping for. We'll do this every Sunday. If it keeps growing momentum, we'll maybe even up that number and get everybody some winners. So Damian Darby, congratulations. Send us that message @DFS Coach Talk, and we'll send you that $20 out in a couple of minutes. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Great audience today. Great stuff in chat. Really appreciate everyone listening, and let's go after it and definitely crush it in MLB, DFS, Prize Picks, and Boom Fantasy.